Inflammation is part of our natural immune system. It's supposed to happen, okay? It's normal, especially in the short term. So if you get a scratch on your arm, if you sprain your ankle, if you have a sore throat, these things require the immune system to kick on and help to combat that, to heal the scratch, to cure the sore throat, to fix your ankle. All that happens, okay? But sometimes something goes crazy and your immune system doesn't shut off. And it can now turn into a chronic problem that can last for months, years, or maybe just never go away. And there's many diseases that are associated with that, and we'll talk about that in a minute. A lot of times it becomes an autoimmune thing, meaning that your body or your immune system thinks there's something going on in your body that is not supposed to be there, and it starts to attack that, causing problems. Rheumatoid arthritis, really good example of that. Sometimes it's environmental. Maybe we're exposed to things that are toxin or whatever that sometimes can cause damage, turn on that immune system doesn't get turned off. At some point in time, sometimes this can spread, this inflammation, can spread to nerves and connective tissues. So there's certainly a correlation between neuropathy and perhaps inflammation. The thing with nutrition is that it's a relatively new science. You know, this isn't astrophysics or biology. Things pretty much don't change with that very often. But nutrition hasn't been around all that long. And so, you know, we heard eggs were good for us. Then eggs were bad for us. And then eggs are good for us. And now we don't know. And, you know, every other day you turn around on the news or wherever and it's just contradicting information. So it can be hard. And probably what I'm presenting to you now in 15 years, it may be totally different. And I guess that's what the exciting thing is about nutrition, and that's what the frustrating thing is about nutrition. Also, everybody eats. So everybody has that personalized thing with nutrition. You know, oh, my sister Becky did this diet and she lost a bunch of weight, so, you know, she just spouts off what Becky did to lose weight. That doesn't mean that it works for everybody. Same thing with this. So the things that I'm going to give you, the information I'm going to give you, you know, with food, the great thing is you try it, it doesn't work, you don't continue to follow it. Check with your doctor about supplements. We'll talk about that a little bit more too. And diet takes a while. It's not like you eat some kale and all of a sudden the heavens open up and all your problems are solved. It doesn't work that way. So nutrition takes a while. It's a lot longer than taking a pill or other things. So that's the thing that we need to talk about too. So moving on. Illnesses that can lead or from chronic inflammation. Again, neuropathy, there's certainly the correlation there. Heart disease has been linked to inflammation. Specifically, in my, what I'm thinking of is for sure with diet. The types of fat that we consume, sugar, directly related to inflammation in the arteries, which is leading to heart disease. Cancer, certain cancers are related to inflammation. They're now thinking that Alzheimer's disease is related to chronic inflammation in the body. Connective tissue disorders like rheumatoid arthritis, vasculitis, and those who are diabetic, type 2 diabetes, they're thinking that is caused by inflammation in the body, as well as Crohn's disease. A lot of times we think of inflammation and we think of the words that end in itis, bursitis, colitis, diverticulitis. Those terms we think of relating to inflammation, but that's not it. All these other things are related to inflammation, and a lot of times what happens is that inflammation starts off slowly in our body, and it just builds and builds. There's not a lot of symptoms to it, to all of a sudden we then end up with maybe one of these conditions or neuropathy or something like that. So that's what happens. They're thinking with diseases that are related to inflammation. So, how does the standard American diet contribute to inflammation? Well, it is all over inflammation, let me tell you that. The standard American diet, not the epitome of anything being healthy. And we see that truly when we take countries, let's just use parts of Asia, that have very low incidences of heart disease, cancer, stroke, diabetes. And what do? We ruin them and we put in McDonald's and other things over there, okay? And then they start eating more of a standard American diet. And what do we see? we see the diseases that Americans have. Heart disease, certain forms of cancer, diabetes, of course, obesity as well. So there's got to be something to it. Maybe we should eat more kale. You have to massage your kale. By the way, you have to massage it. Do you know what I mean by that? It sounds dirty, but you have to wash it, and the finer you chop it, or if you put it in a towel or kind of rub it around, it gets kind of softer. It's not like eating this carpet. So,
does it taste better?
Well, you got to put some good stuff on there, but massage your kale. There, that's the helpful hint of the day. Massage it. And then we can talk about flavorings. I got them all started on the massaging part. Now I can't get you back. So basically, the standard American diet promotes inflammation. So what is it about the standard American diet that does that? Let's talk about that. Next slide. Haha, just kidding. Okay. The standard American diet is pro-inflammatory. Okay? It's highly processed. I always tell people, you want to eat plants, but if your food comes from a plant, you don't want to eat that, meaning made in a plant. Okay? That's where our food comes from. Cheetos don't grow from the ground. Damn. That would make your kale taste good right there. That's right. I know. Hey, you guys said you ate all things. I heard you. Okay. Very refined carbohydrates. There's a big thing about carbohydrates. Well, do we eat too many carbohydrates? Do we restrict our carbohydrates? Maybe I'll just go on the Atkins diet and not eat any carbohydrates. Carbohydrates have been a big thing in nutrition for several years. I don't expect that to change anytime soon. The types of carbohydrates that we eat as standard Americans, not anyone in here, but everybody out there, very refined. So white flour, white rice, white pasta. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but hundreds of years ago, we didn't have the machines available that stripped away the bran and the fiber and the vitamins and minerals, and we were forced to use that whole wheat, whole grain, brown rice. And they finally started to invent machinery, and then it was the kings and the wealthy people that could afford that processing that got to use those white flours, the white rice. And again, when it became more mainstream, then we all did it. But now what we know is we want the bran on there, and we want the fiber. And what happens is it strips all of that, and then what they do, if you ever see the term on an ingredient label, it says enriched white flour. What that means is, well, we stripped all the vitamins away, but now we're going to add some artificial ones back in for you. So you make sure we can make a claim on there that has a B vitamin in it. So, if we could consume more whole grains, that would be more beneficial. Okay, wait, hold on. All right. Lots of added sugar. The recommendation from the Heart Association is that women should only consume 6 teaspoons of sugar a day. This is added sugar, not what's found in fruit and those kind of things. Men, that is only 9 teaspoons of sugar. That's not very much, considering that the average American consumes 21 teaspoons of sugar a day. How unsweet is that?
How do you ingest that? Are you talking about actual teaspoons?
Yeah, so if you're eating Captain Crunch, or you're drinking soda, or you're going to Starbucks and you're having sweet, all that sugar that is extra is what they're talking about. And it becomes very hard because when you look at a label, it'll have your carbohydrate, it'll have sugar, other, fiber in there. But it doesn't really tell you what's added sugar and what's naturally there. Dairy products automatically have sugar in them. Lactose is milk sugar. Fruits have fructose, and so that's natural sugar. So when you're eating yogurt, I always get mad when people go, oh, that yogurt, it's got all that sugar in it. Well, a serving of yogurt already has 12 grams of carbohydrate in it from natural fruit sugar. So you can't say that this yogurt is bad because it's got sugar. And now if you're getting Boston cream pie flavored yogurt, which is fantastic, by the way, that has a lot of sugar added to it. So they're hoping we're going to get ready, yay, again, to change the label One more time on food packages. And what they're hoping, and what I'm hoping happens, is they actually put on there added sugars and not just sugar, because that would make it easier for all of us to kind of look at it and go, is this sugar because it's, fruit, or if it's a dairy, or if it's, Cocoa Puffs, and where is that coming from? So that would be helpful if they do that, and we'll just see, because no one asked my opinion and they just change things. Sugar substitutes, I'm kind of on the fence on that one. It kind of depends what it is. We know that saccharin is banned in Europe. It's banned in Canada, I believe, and pregnant women and children should not consume it. So that's good enough for me not to consume it. Next, I feel, would be the blue packets, the aspartame or the NutraSweet. And then we kind of go down the line with Splenda, and the most natural one that we have out now is the stevia sweetener. But even sugar isn't really natural. You don't walk down into a field and see piles of white granulated things. It has to be processed from that plant to be into sugar. So overall, if we could just decrease our use of sugar in general, I think it would be beneficial. But I don't use just one sweetener. I use a bunch, and I figure not one's going to get me because I mix it up. So that may be something to think about as well. Okay. Also, we have problems with saturated fat and trans fat, and they are inflammatory, especially trans fat, which is basically man-made. Think of Crisco way back in the day. They took a vegetable oil and they added hydrogen to it through a machine, and now it is solid at room temperature. It lasts forever. This is why Twinkies will last forever, because they had a lot of Crisco when they made that. So we know now that trans fats are very bad for our heart health and probably in general overall health. The other thing that makes the standard American diet not so healthy is the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fats. Omega-3 and omega-6 fats are unsaturated fats, so they're already healthy. We want to have more of those versus lard and butter and, meat. However, we eat way more omega-6 fats than omega-3 fats. Omega-6 fats are from corn oil, vegetable oil, safflower, sunflower oil. So they're used a lot in cooking. They're used a lot in restaurants and in processed foods. Okay? The thing about omega-6 fats is that it increases the levels of what's called cytokines, and those are proteins from the cells which turns on inflammation. Okay? So the standard American diet is very high in these types of fats. We don't have a good ratio of the omega-3 fats, and we all know about the omega-3s. That comes from our cold water fish, walnuts, flax oil, those kind of things, and those can decrease inflammation. Again, so I think a lot of the problems with our diet starts with food manufacturers and processors. If they would change how they did things, it would make it easier for all of us to eat a healthier diet than what all you find in the grocery store and when you go out to eat is full of saturated fat and white flour and sugar and omega-6 fats. It makes it really hard to have a healthier diet. Job security, I suppose. Okay. Yes.
Butter to margarine, now we're back to butter, and I would have some other things in between.
It's one of those things, coconut oil now is the big thing, which is also a saturated fat. Yes, there's some research pointing that coconut oil is more healthy than butter and other saturated fats, but again, it's kind of like the egg thing to me. It's like we don't really know. So I don't really recommend that people throw out butter and throw out their, vegetable-based tub margarine that has no trans fat in it and go just to coconut oil. I think that if you use coconut oil, use it where you would with butter. We don't want to eat sticks and sticks of butter, but I use butter. I use butter. I also use margarine that's vegetable oil based, and sometimes I sneak in coconut oil, but my family has an issue with that, and so I have to be really sneaky. So yes, it's back to that thing that dietitians love to say, moderation. It's true. It really is true. Yes, sir.
Olive oil.
Olive oil is the best. So if you're going to cook right now, we know that olive oil is really healthy. I know it doesn't work in all products, so if you can't use olive oil, if you can use a good canola oil, that would also take the place as well. All righty.
Don't you lose the nutrition with olive oil if you cook it for high temperature?
It's not designed to be cooked with high temperatures, so that's usually why a lot of restaurants will use other things, the coconut oil, etc. So yeah, you don't want to cook it high. You can't fry in olive oil, let's say, but your light saute, those kind of things, yes, you still keep the nutrition with that. Then we have additives and preservatives. That's in a lot of our foods now, again, because things are processed. We want food that lasts on the shelf. We don't have to go to the grocery store 3 and 4 times a week. So foods that are packaged have a lot of additives and preservatives so that we can keep them on the shelves. Same thing in restaurants as well. Let's see. Fast food, well, we already know everything about that. But there's other things like MSG, which would kind of fall into your additives and preservatives. That's been shown to not be very helpful either. Alcohol can be not very healthy if you overconsume that. And then, the latest thing now is gluten and casein. Gluten is the protein that's found in wheat and products like wheat, and casein is the protein that's found in dairy products. And there are people that are sensitive to that have some people have an allergy to it, not as many people as you might think. Some people they react to it. So I suggest that if you feel like you're one of those people, that you go to your doctor. Perhaps they could test you for that before you start eliminating all food groups because you think that dairy or gluten or something is bothering you. Okay, moving on to anti-inflammatory foods. Are there such a thing? Yes. Again, this will probably change in 15 years, but we're going on what we know right now. All right, what we know for sure are fruits and vegetables. No news there, huh? Okay, let's shoot fruits and vegetables. Get the kale out. I'm telling you, Thanksgiving's coming. You could make a good side dish with that. Okay, the thing with fruits and vegetables, here's a little story, and maybe this will make you think of fruits and vegetables a little differently. If you are a deer or a cow or a chicken and you are running into danger, like someone's coming after you with a big knife, or you need to find food and water, what do? You go. You run away from the danger. You go and find food and water, given that you're not on a factory farm, and that's a whole other presentation that we won't talk about, okay? You go and find it. What happens when a little tiny blueberry plant is now in the direct Texas sun, and its goal and its DNA is to go from seed to plant to bearing that fruit? It cannot run away from the drought or the direct sun or the pesticides that's been sprayed on it. So what do plants do? They produce chemicals within themselves to protect themselves from drought, from pesticides, from the sunshine, those kind of things. Not necessarily from machetes. There's not much they could do about that. But they're called phytochemicals. I'm sure we've heard that term's thrown around a lot. Phytochemicals. That's what's in plants that makes them live to where they get to be a blueberry, a strawberry, a broccoli, a kale. Okay? So if it's healthy for that plant, if that plant produces it and is able to get to our table, then you've got to think that by eating more fruits and vegetables, they would in turn help our cells. And they do. So if we could eat more fruits and vegetables, definitely would be better off. Okay, I'm not telling you anything you don't know there. Okay, olive oil, part of an anti-inflammatory diet. Nuts. Now don't get all carried away and goes, cashews? Cashews are lovely, but I'm not specifically talking about cashews. I'm talking about almonds and walnuts, perhaps some pistachios, etc., those kind of things. I always tell people if it tastes good, spit it out. It's probably not good for you. Okay, beans, seeds, also good for you. Omega-3 fats, we talked about that. Salmon, tuna, mackerel, which I've never had. I don't even know if I had it. Sardines, walnuts, flax seeds, ground flax seeds, by the way, not just the seeds themselves, because the omega-3 fats get trapped in there. They need to be ground up a little bit. That's how you get the omega-3. Pumpkin seeds even too, okay? Whole grains when we can do that, lean protein when we can do that, unprocessed foods as much as possible. So, in its natural form, the closer that it is to its natural form, the better it probably is. You have your whole chicken to your cut up chicken to your seasoned already chicken to your marinated chicken to your fried chicken. Okay, that's on the scale of health. So the closer that it is to natural and you do it yourself, the healthier it's going to be because you can control that. If you're going to consume dairy, there are two schools of thought on that. People's like, if you're going to consume a good amount of dairy, I would say at least go with 2% if you're concerned about fat and calories. If you're not, or you don't consume a lot of cheese or yogurt or milk, then, have at it with the full fat. Okay? Because there are people saying, people should have the full fat now. Same thing with the butter thing. Okay? So it's kind of up to you on that. Okay? Reducing our sugar, reducing our salt, seasoning more with herbs and spices when we can. You know what this sounds like? And this was a beautiful slide if you saw it. It's a beautiful picture. The Mediterranean diet, that's what this sounds like. And wouldn't we all be healthier if we lived in Greece? I think. Yeah. We'd be poor. Sure, maybe we want to move somewhere else. Maybe Italy. Italy, not so bad, okay? Not a bad thing there. So this really sounds like that. So again, countries that border the Mediterranean Sea decrease lowest in the world: heart disease, cancer, Alzheimer's disease, diabetes, all the things we talked about. So there's got to be something to how they live their life compared to how we live. There's got to be something. It can't be just genetics, okay? And it's not. It's diet. And this is more than just diet. It's more than just a food, the olive oil, the red wine, which, hey, any diet that includes that, we got to be all for that. It's got to be more than that. So this is more of a lifestyle. So, people that live in that area, they take a lot of pride in their food. They spend a lot of time preparing it. They eat socially together with their family and extended family and neighbors. They take walks after dinner. They talk. It's just a whole lifestyle that really, wouldn't it be great if we lived that kind of lifestyle here where we embrace socializing and being with people and, not everyone checking their phone every 3 minutes because someone might post what they ate for dinner on Facebook and we might miss it. Okay. That's true. Boy, have things have changed, huh? Yes, sir.
Of these things you just named, if they're frozen, either fish or vegetables or whatever, does it take the nutriment out of the stuff?
It actually does, and especially in the terms of fruits and vegetables, because you know what? Bird's Eye's got a plant right next to where they're growing the peas, and they take those peas and they're probably frozen within that same day. So with frozen vegetables, they're probably, if truth be told, more nutritious than fresh, because fresh peas they sit in the warehouse, they sit on a truck, they drive across country, they sit in the grocery store in the back, and then I put them out, and God knows how long they sit there. That's not to say don't eat fresh fruits and vegetables. Please don't hear that like that. But, it's certainly cheaper to eat frozen. Everything's in season at that point in time, so I am all about frozen.
Same thing for like fruit, fish.
Fish, that becomes a whole tricky thing. That's a whole other conversation about farmed fish and wild fish. But yeah, if you're going to get wild fish, and we're not in the Mediterranean, people, it's going to be frozen. So it's all about reading that label and looking for, wild caught fish when you can afford that, because that's an arm and a leg. Okay. So again, this really is the anti-inflammatory diet would be the Mediterranean diet. There are other ones out there, the zone diet plus adding fish oil in, but that gets way, way, way too complicated. So the basics of the Mediterranean diet, and I know you can't see this on the handout, but I have a food guide pyramid from the Mediterranean. It will look really great when you're able to see the PowerPoint. It's really focused more on a plant-based diet. More fruits and vegetables, more beans, nuts, seeds, plant-based proteins, okay? Seafood, fish, okay? Olive oil. Only weekly do they consume, really, meat and fish. Red meat is rarely consumed. Not a lot of processed foods or sweets. If they do consume sweets, they're probably desserts that are fruit or dairy-based or a combination thereof, okay? They don't have Mountain Dew there in the Mediterranean, which anything that glows in the dark like that, you probably shouldn't drink it. Just saying.
I have a question.
Yes?
How does the Mediterranean diet stack up with the Asian diet, for example?
It's very similar. I mean, obviously, Asians don't necessarily, olive oil is not their primary source of oil. Usually, they use like a sesame-based oil. But really, it's very close, differing proteins, the different seafood poultry. They use more beef and pork, sometimes depending on the region. But the Asian countries as well, low incidence of disease until we came in and ruined it for them, or they moved here. So very, very similar to that, and lots of fruits and vegetables as well. So again, we already talked about this. Diet takes a lot longer to work. So if you're wanting to maybe implement adding in some of these things about the Mediterranean diet into your lifestyle, again, one kale salad is not going to fix it. I would give it at least 2 to 4 weeks, and then maybe longer. Depending on how closely you are following it, it may take a little bit longer, okay? That sounds odd. That's why no one ever succeeds in any diet out there, because you give up way before it ever starts working. So that's why I tell people, so if you just hang on for just a little bit longer, you may find the results to come. So just hang in there, and a little more red wine, you won't mind that kale so much. Just kidding. Kidding! Okay. So the basic principles of the Mediterranean diet, or diets like it, again, lots of fruits and vegetables, high in those phytochemicals, which are really important. Dairy products contain those probiotics, so you want to make sure that when you are consuming yogurt that it has live cultures in it. It says it right on the label. There's a lot of research out there now that are showing that people's gut is all screwed up. And in the processed diets that we eat, lack of fruits and vegetables and fiber and some of these foods that feed the good bacteria in your stomach, this is a whole other presentation altogether, but we don't have the same gut bacteria that we did. And it was interesting, they did a study with people who had bariatric surgery for weight loss, and they took a look at their gut bacteria, and actually it changed. Their gut bacteria changed. They took that gut bacteria and they put it in people that didn't have bariatric surgery, and they started to lose weight. I have just cured obesity right here. I mean, if we could do that, serious. So there's something to it, the gut bacteria. And they're finding now obesity, people who are obese have a different gut bacteria than people who are not. I don't know, kind of interesting. Mull that over. Okay. Alrighty, so we already talked about this. Whole grains, fish and shellfish, olive oil, cheese and yogurt in moderate amounts, nuts and seeds, very little red meat or processed foods. Regular, moderate physical activity. You don't have to flip tires in the CrossFit class. A nice walk would be great. Okay? All right. Moderate consumption of red wine, that's my favorite part. And then portion control. People in the Mediterranean are not supersizing their meals. Well, first of all, they don't have anything to supersize with. They make what they make, and they're feeding people, and they're eating. So there's no, 14 cups of pasta from the Olive Garden going on their dinner plates. It's more vegetables, pasta as kind of a side dish. Now, cooking more. Again, you have more, no one wants to hear that, ladies, am I right? No one wants to say, oh, great, she's telling me to cook more. Okay, but if we did, in general, we could control our portions, what we put in our food, and it would taste delicious. And you could get everybody involved. It just doesn't have to be mom in the kitchen. Okay, I'm speaking for myself now. All right, slow down, moderate activity. Is this going to help people lose weight for people who want to lose weight? I can't promise that, but depending on what your diet looks like now, and then when you make those changes, it very well could be because of the processed foods. So if you honestly take a look at your diet and you know that it's high in processed foods, just by eliminating that, people could lose weight. It's not very much fun, perhaps, but it will help you lose weight. All right, so steps to incorporate this. Again, it's a lifestyle, not a diet, so it needs to be studied more, but it's certainly these countries in Asia and the Mediterranean have a lower incidence of disease, but increasing fruits and vegetables probably would be the first thing that I would recommend. When you're eating more fruits and vegetables, you have less room for, Swiss roll cakes and Cheetos. So just by doing that, it just helps to put more healthful food in there. So like an example of a meal plan, because I know someone will say, well, what would that look like if I was going to eat it? Maybe for breakfast you have some steel-cut oatmeal with some berries, topped with a little vanilla Greek yogurt, coffee or tea. Lunch might be a tuna salad sandwich on a whole wheat bread with some fruit. Dinner, some whole grain pasta with a turkey meat sauce, a spinach salad that has oranges and walnuts and a dressing on there, and maybe you snack on some dark chocolate and walnuts. And don't forget that glass of red wine. I don't know, I could do that. Amen. I could do that right now. All right. This brings me to the hot topic, which is herbs and supplements. I don't know about other people that have come and spoke to this group before, but I really don't believe in taking a bunch of pills and powders and herbs and supplements. And I have many reasons why. And I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong on this, okay? But vitamins and herbs are not regulated at all by anybody. So Joe Blow down the street could get some capsules and basically put sand in it and tell you that it's going to cure X, Y, Z disease, and there's no one studying that it works, that it's safe, and how much to take. No one's looking at that. So when you go and you buy vitamins, you really don't know what you're going to get. Yes, there's some safeguards in place if it's USP verified or those kind of things. But, people want the quick fix. And they want to take a pill and they want to feel better. They want to lose weight. They don't want to be stressed out. Whatever, it is, there tends to be a pill for it. And I don't believe 100% in doing that. So now that I've ticked you off on that, really, there's no proof that vitamins prevent heart disease. It doesn't prevent cancer. It doesn't prevent diabetes. That we know. Okay? So unless you have a deficiency, that would be the only way I would say take a vitamin. Or if you can't meet a nutrient through food alone. So pregnancy is a great example. A lot of times women can't meet all their nutrient needs through pregnancy. They take a prenatal vitamin. If you have osteoporosis, you can't get in enough calcium, vitamin D, I think that's a great way. If you're anemic, if you're vitamin B12 deficient, for sure, go ahead and do that. But just to take a bunch of pills and say, oh, well, I'm all healthy. And then what I love, I did this presentation, this woman was arguing me about supplements, yet she smoked. And I knew she smoked. I'm like, girl, you got more things to work on than what kind of supplements you're taking. Let's work on not smoking, shall we? So really, there's other things we could be doing, not necessarily spending a lot of money, and they are very expensive, herbs, supplements, etc. Okay. So now I talked to Dr. Horvath before I even put this in here because I thought, well, he's a neurologist. He deals with this. What does he recommend? Because if he recommends supplements, then for sure I'm going to be including this in here. And he said he does not believe in it. So there. Okay. So he sometimes thinks that alpha lipoic acid is beneficial. We can talk about that in 1 second. And omega-3 supplements as well could be beneficial, but there's so many other things out there, and B vitamins and folic acid and all these things, and I don't really know how I feel about that, and I feel that supplements interact with the way prescription medications work, especially if you're on blood thinners for anything. It's very risky to just start taking a bunch of herbs and supplements because it can really change the way that your medications work. So you really need to let your doctor know. You need to let your pharmacist know just to be safe. Now that doesn't mean that if you're taking something, I want you to stop. If you're taking something and you feel that it is giving improvement to you, I want you to go ahead and continue with that. But I don't think that going and taking a bunch of pills without discussing that with your doctor is probably a good idea. There. I can see people filling out their evals now. Yes?
Is there any way that you can get a hint at what companies that produce vitamins and supplements are dependable?
Oh, that's a good one.
Because
Nature's Made, I know, is one. Nature's Made. Yeah, Nature Valley's granola bars. Nature's Made. And I can actually look up some stuff and give that to Nancy so she can include that. So a little bit about alpha lipoic acid. This is the one thing that Dr. Horvath did say they have had some success with. Again, don't run off to GNC right now and be looking for that, but this is just something to think about. It is an antioxidant. It helps to decrease cell damage, and it can restore vitamin E and vitamin C levels. It's useful for diabetic neuropathy, burning, pain, and numbness. So, of course, I would think that would work across the board. The recommended dose that they've studied is between 600 and 1,200 milligrams. Gee, that's a big range. Again, check with your doctor, check with a pharmacist. If you go and get all your medication filled through one pharmacy, they are very underutilized pharmacists, I think. I would say, hey, you know all the medications I'm taking. I'm thinking about starting this. Is it going to interfere or interact with any of my medications? I think that's worth doing. Oh, alpha lipoic acid. Lipoic. Okay? It's also found in yeast, like we eat that, liver, kidney, blech, spinach, broccoli, and potatoes. But again, just like, remember when the whole French paradox came out and they said, oh yeah, the French, man, they drink that red wine, it's got that resveratrol in there and that's what's protected. You'd have to drink 1,000 bottles of wine a day. And that seems like a great goal, but it cannot be done. And so same thing, you'd have to eat a lot of yeast, a lot of potatoes. I mean, so diet-wise, you probably couldn't get in the levels that we would need in order to reach the 600 to 1,200 milligrams. So again, good thing to think about out there. And again, the omega-3, for sure, with like rheumatoid arthritis, those kinds of inflammations, there's definitely research that shows that that definitely helps with that. The recommendation is to take it 3 times a day. I don't know, close to 1,500 milligrams, I guess. But again, I would check with your doctor. Total. 1,500. It may be 1,500 sounds about right. But you know, it can cause stomach upset. It certainly changes the way your blood clots. So you need to make sure that if you're on anything like that, it's going to interact with that. You need to check with your doctor. Well, what else can we do? Okay, well, reducing stress. And if I had the key for that, I would be on a beach somewhere. Okay. Chronic stress increases stress hormones, which increases inflammation in the body. Okay? So as much as we can just chill out, maybe that's where the red wine comes in, I'm not sure. It would be helpful. Okay? Sleep, also important. If you are routinely not getting at least 6 hours of good sleep, this can also increase stress hormones, which increases inflammation. Okay, the exercise, which reduces stress, good for the overall body there. Maintaining a healthy weight, receiving proper medical care, also important, and not smoking. I don't think we need to talk about that. That's out there. Other things, you know, there are foods that are supposed to help with inflammation and pain. You've probably heard of them before. Incorporating green tea. I can't even see that. Tart cherries. I can't even see it with my glasses. This is bad. Okay. Spicy foods can help with that. Ginger, turmeric, dark chocolate. Love that one too. And I'm not talking about Dove dark chocolate. I'm talking about dark chocolate, like 68 to 70% cacao, which tastes like baking chocolate and you will want to spit it out. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about dark chocolate. Yes? Exactly. You're exactly right.
And blood thinners.
Exactly.
Really, could be some of those listed.
You do. And if you're just using these in your foods, probably not as much of a risk as if there are pill forms of these as well. That definitely would be something to be cautious about. Thank you for bringing that up. Other things to avoid or maybe limit, the whole artificial sweetener thing, alcohol, MSG. Again, if you want to do a trial of eliminating gluten to see if that makes you feel different, there is certainly nothing wrong with that. Take a week or two, eliminate gluten, see if you notice any differences. If not, you can slowly add those foods back in. It's it's called the elimination diet. Alrighty, a little bit about the holidays. How are we doing on time? Am I totally taking it? Okay. There's no clock in here and no PowerPoint, nothing. We're in a time warp. Time does stand still in here.
We all go to sleep, you quit.
Okay.
Or we walk out.
Or we walk out. That's good. Okay. So here we go with the holidays again. It seems like it was just July 4th, and here it is. We're at the end of the year. It is. It's so, you know, no matter how you celebrate the holidays, really what it means is at least a day or two or several days in a row or weeks or maybe months, depending on how far you go with it, that you're going to have not be in your normal routine, really is how I look at it. It's a great time of year. This is my favorite time of the year. It's my kids' favorite time of the year. But certainly things your life kind of gets away with you, okay, with that. So if you're trying to manage symptoms of any kind of disease or manage your weight or manage your stress or anything, and you're not in your normal routine, things can go all kinds of crazy, okay? So that's one of the things I want to point out about the holidays, that, you know, if you're going to be traveling, if you're going to be going anywhere, you're going to have people staying with you, whatever the case may be, there may be some planning that needs to be involved with at the airport, What time should I eat before I go to the airport so I know I can get something healthy? If not, what's at the airport? What kind of hotel am I going to be staying in? Because really, you can love your family, but I don't recommend staying with them. Okay, maybe just my family. Being in a hotel, you have some privacy, relax, quiet time. Maybe you can stay more to a regular routine if you're, in a hotel. Perhaps they have a gym or a heated pool. Also great. What kind of restaurants are in that hotel? Are you going to be around people? What kind of foods are they going to bring? Could you offer to bring something? Maybe that's something that you would feel more comfortable eating. So all those things come into play. Sleep and lack thereof comes into play. The foods we just talked about not eating come into play. And so what I want to say about that is enjoy the holidays. Please don't leave here and go, I got to sit by the Christmas tree with my cup of celery and a glass of water and be really sad. No, that's not what I'm saying. The holiday, again, these holidays once a year. So if there are foods that mean the most to you during this time and you only eat them now and it's once a year, my goodness, have them. Okay? Now, what I tell people, especially Thanksgiving, we'll just use Thanksgiving. You know what? You can have mashed potatoes any old day of the week. So really, that's not the food to me that screams Thanksgiving. I save my calories and I save it for the things that mean the most on Thanksgiving. So that's what I'm talking about. Enjoy them. Eat the foods that mean the most. Maybe those other things, you don't need them. You can have them today. Save up for the holidays. Okay. So it's avoiding the Last Supper mentality, meaning, that's not the only time you'll have a pecan pie in your life is on Thanksgiving. You can have that anytime. We feel like it's like, oh God, I gotta get it. And we overeat on those. Okay, so don't be crazy. Have a piece that means Thanksgiving to you. Focus on the family, the friends, the fun, the spirit of the holidays. Not sitting or standing near the food. This is more for weight management purposes because, of course, if you stand near the buffet table, you're going to eat from the buffet table. Try to eat like you would at home as much as possible. Filling up on fruits and vegetables. Bring your own food if you need to do that. Avoid or limit alcohol if that makes, I know with my family, sometimes that's the only way to get through is the alcohol. Exercise before you go. Maybe you'll feel a little more motivated or energized or whatever. Don't go hungry. Maybe it's a long time before you're going to eat. You tend to make not as healthy food choices when you are hungry. And be the perfect guest. The person who's filling people's glasses or clearing the table. That way you're not so inclined to eat leftovers or go back again for another round of turkey. Okay? Alrighty. So the last picture, which you can't see, which would look really good on the PowerPoint, is just some different foods that say you are going to have a little get-together at your house for a holiday. It's ways to incorporate some of the foods that we talked about from the Mediterranean diet and those anti-inflammatory foods and how to include those in there. So again, if you focus on fruits and vegetables, there's ways to zhuzh those up and make them look festive and delicious. And if anyone needs help with that, I'm happy to provide recipes or helpful tips on kale. I got kale recipes like you don't even know.
We're going to lunch.
Okay, that's probably not the best place to have kale. I'll have to make you something and have some red wine. So if anyone has questions, etc., I'd love to take those. I know we've talked a little bit about it. Yes?
Is there a snack, granola bar or a snack bar or something like that that you feel is reasonably healthy to take? I'm bad with plain old granola bars. I know they've got sugar and
They do.
stuff in
And they have to add something to them, otherwise they don't stick together. Kind bars, kind, just like it says, yeah. Those aren't going to be in your granola bar aisle, and you'll find things similar to that in the granola bar aisle, but it's in the health food aisle where like the protein bars and those kind of things are. It's basically just dried fruit, nuts, and there's a little bit of honey or whatever holding it together. But, there's not all those weird ingredients in there, If your grandmother couldn't pronounce it, you probably shouldn't eat it. Probably. Yes, sir.
I always walk out of the market with serious guilt issues
Oh.
because I didn't buy everything organic.
Oh.
So would you address?
Oh, this is my favorite question. I'll pay you later for asking that. I think people think they need to buy organic, and to me, it is a personal choice. I got 3 kids. I can't afford to buy organic dairy and organic. I can't afford to do that. It is hard enough for me to get people to eat fruits and vegetables, let alone now say, well, you should really have organic. Okay, I just want people eating fruits and vegetables. And is a conventionally grown strawberry, if you're going to eat that because you can't afford the organic strawberries, I want you to eat the strawberry, okay? So if you are truly concerned, there's about 12 or so fruits and vegetables that really absorb pesticides. It's called the Dirty Dozen, not the movie, but if you just Google that and don't put the movie in, it'll come up with, it's things that have thin skin or that are absorb those pesticides. So if you're really concerned, I would focus on those instead of trying to buy everything organic, because just like the whole vitamin and mineral thing, organic farms get certified as organic, and then we don't have enough FDA people to go around and make sure that people aren't being poisoned with E. coli from things. They don't have enough people to go back and recertify Bob's farm to tell us if it's still organic. That's me, and my husband's a police officer, so I have trust issues now because he has made me that way. But it's like, I don't really believe, just because it has an organic sticker on it, is it really organic? I don't know. It costs a lot more. And from a nutrition standpoint, an organic apple versus a non-organic apple, there's not a nutrition difference. It's just a pesticide. People who feel very passionate about that, they may want to consume the organic.
What's the difference between sugars, carbohydrates, and complex carbohydrates?
They're all carbohydrates, okay? So sugars are what everything gets broken down to. When you eat a piece of bread, it gets broken down into sugar in your body. Sugar is sugar. That's also a carbohydrate. Simple carbohydrates are Dr. Pepper, Snickers bars, okay? Sugary type of foods, okay? True. So fruits, starchy vegetables, grains and cereals, starchy or bread, pasta, rice, those kind of things. All of that are carbohydrates. All of it gets broken down into sugar in your body, and that's what your body uses for energy.
So what is a complex?
Complex carbohydrates are more starchier foods. So pasta, rice, potatoes, starchy beans like pinto beans, those things are complex carbohydrates.
Are those better for you than the simple carbohydrates?
They are, just because they take a little bit longer to digest. And so people who have blood sugar issues, even fruit is just pure sugar. And when you eat it by itself, your blood sugar will spike and then it will fall. But if you pair that fruit with something else, or if you're eating a carbohydrate that's got more fiber and vitamins and minerals in it, it just kind of digests a little bit more slowly to kind of keep your blood sugar from spiking. Yeah. But it's the gas for the car, so we need carbohydrates. That's what our brain runs on. Every cell in our body runs on carbohydrates.
I wondered what your thoughts are about additional protein intake. How much protein do we need to keep our muscles?
That's a great question, and let me dispel the myth right now. Protein does not build muscle. Exercise builds the muscle. Oh, I can just hear people going, oh. You can drink it. You can, okay? So when you are lifting weights, we'll just use the exercise, okay? You lift a heavy weight and you get very tired and fatigued. You are breaking down muscle fibers inside your muscle, okay? When you consume protein now after that, it repairs those muscle fibers, increasing strength, okay? And building the muscle. So that's why protein is important. And as we age, sometimes medication, sometimes just aging in general, or some kind of disease maybe that people might have, it changes the way things taste to us. And a lot of times protein foods are one of those things that we either can't chew, we don't like, we can't afford, whatever the case may be. And so sometimes as we age, we don't get as much protein as we need. But let me tell you, in America, there is no one who is deficient in protein. Unless you are a cancer patient or an AIDS patient or a burn patient where you need just more protein than the average American, most people meet their protein needs pretty easily. So we need the protein.
Liquid proteins, like Ensure and so
Now, those are great. If you're finding that you're not able to get protein in other ways with meat, et cetera, then yeah. So yeah, drinking it's fine too. Sorry. Everyone goes, we're going for steak after you lift some weights. Anything else? No?
Speaking of American culture, how about coffee?
How about coffee? Caffeine. I was like, is there something more than that? Okay.
Should we drink it? Should we not?
There are beneficial effects to drinking coffee. It has antioxidants in it. So there's a lot of positives about it. You know, I think scary enough that the recommendation is no more than 5 servings a day. I mean, if you have to have more than that, maybe we need more sleep. But, you know, caffeine can interfere with medications. It can cause GI upset. And then, I don't know about you guys, but I don't like my coffee to taste like coffee. So it ends up becoming a calorie issue for me because I add more creamer than I do coffee, and then it becomes a fat calorie issue. So yeah, it certainly can be useful. People use it before they work out and they have more endurance. I've not found that, but I don't work out that hard, so I don't know. Yes, sir.
Decaf versus non-decaf coffee.
Even decaf's got a little bit of caffeine in it, to me. So I say, you know, why drink it if you want to drink it, have the caffeine part? I don't, to me, true. Sometimes I am concerned about the processing. You know, in my head, I get all wrapped up in lots of things that keep me awake. And so I think about those things. So I think it goes back to that moderation thing. If you're drinking 1.5 pots of decaf coffee, that's a concern, whether it's decaf or regular or whatever, to think about it that way. But if you're replacing a cup or 2 of regular with decaf because you feel that it's better, or you have an arrhythmia, or your doctor said so, or whatever, I think that's fine.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.